Before I get into this very important lecture, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my YouTube channel. And with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture, which is, I'm going to revisit this lecture. I've lectured on this topic before. My spirit has driven me to lecture again on this very important topic, which is, I tell anyone, I don't care how old you are, I tell I don't care if you're still in the workforce or retired or semi-retired, you know, the focus of this lecture is to use your knowledge, skills, ability, talents, passion, and or credential to generate other streams of income. It's power, people. you know, uh, September of this year made 3 full years that I've been in full retirement. However, you know, the last 25 years in the workforce, I always made money outside of my day job, utilizing my credential as a licensed clinical addiction expert to generate other streams of income simultaneously while being in the workforce. And I've always, even when I was in the military, I've always, because I have that mindset of have always used my other knowledge, skills, and abilities and talents to generate revenue outside of my day job. And I tell anybody, since I've been in full retirement, because now I'm using my talents, as an addiction expert, I have contracts with stakeholders, although I wrote my book under my company, Awake with Financial Freedom. This book hit all major bookstores well over 4 years ago, which is another stream of income. My publishing companies, they track the sales of my book by the barcode. So, I'm getting royalty checks every quarter from my publishing company. My book went through two world-renowned publishing companies. So I'm getting royalties from two different publishing companies, which is the money I generate from my book that I wrote under my company is another stream of income. So I use my knowledge, skills, and talents to write my manuscript. These are just a couple of examples. Um, and for example, one of the ways I've made money outside of my day job throughout for the past off and on, I would say off and on for about the past 17 years, because I'm very strategic, I'm very organized. Uh, I've always utilized a certified public accountant to file my personal and business taxes for the past 25 years. But one of the things that I started doing, and I made money under my company because by being an organizer, because my accountant, when I would turn all of my uh, information in for my accountant to file my personal and business taxes, I don't just turn a box in with a blog of paperwork in it, people. No, I don't do that. I'm very organized. That's why my accountant always enjoyed doing my personal and business taxes, my CPA, because I would organize all of my documents so well organized. And I remember my accountant telling me, she said, you can make money just by being an organizer. You can make a lot of money just by being an organizer in organizing people documentation for their business and personal taxes. And she said the reason why, because when people will pay her company to file their personal and business taxes, they're bringing all this mess in these boxes, paperwork all over the place, and they will have to pay that accountant, that CPA, additional money to just organize that mess, which will before she can even get to filing the taxes. And I've made money utilizing my passion and talent in organizing other people taxes and the information back over to them so they can take it to their CPA, which would save them a whole lot of time. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm on the 16th of this month. I got an appointment with my CPA to turn all of my stuff over for my personal and business taxes. I always use a CPA. I don't use the TurboTax mess. No, I'm going to use a certified public accountant. I always have, to file my personal business taxes. They stay abreast of the tax laws. They got the software to do this. And they don't just do taxes. CPAs, can give you recommendations and suggestions throughout the year in relation to your personal and business taxes. You want to align yourself with someone who's top notch. They got the credentials to do what they do. They have to answer to a credentialing board of the CPA board to maintain that credential. They operating out of a code of ethics, folks, real talk. So I can remember some years ago when my CPA said, you can make a lot of money just by organizing. And I'm just going to briefly share with the world the power of being organized for in reference to your personal and business taxes, not just during tax season, but throughout the year. I love organizing my stuff. The main thing I tell a person when I've done this before is I always have a separate folder with all of my tax documented in here in order. You're going to have your 1099s, your various 1099s, from your retirement, pension, etc. Your W-2, if you're still in the workforce, you're going to have your W-2, 1099 from retirement, if that applies. You also got to have, I got my 1099 from my publishing company to reflect my royalty income that I made throughout the year for 2025. I got my 1099 for YouTube to reflect my yearly income as a content creator. All of these applicable documents I know to have in a folder of my other 1099s for my financial portfolio. So I'm going to have all of that in a folder, because that accountant, that CPA, my CPA is going to need to see those legal documents as they do my personal and business taxes. And I've always done this for 25 plus years. So versus just having everything in a box and figure this out. Another thing I do when I'm getting my stuff ready is I have a check off. One of my accountant CPAs gave me this check off. And some of this stuff may apply, some of it don't. But if I'm organizing a personal and business taxes, I'm going to use this check off, and I'm going to put everything in its own individual folder label. I always tell people, have a void check in the event you're getting a return, so your CPA can set up your direct deposit for your return, income tax return. I got a folder in relation to my business for my CPA, Paris and Associates Resource Center. And I tell people, one of the primary services under my company is my DOT evaluations. I've been in business for myself simultaneously in the workforce well over 25 years. So since I'm coming under a new CPA, because I'm new in this area, prior to that, I had the same CPA for about 17 years. So I'm going to make sure that my new CPA have a folder on my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center. And what's in this folder is information on my primary services for Paris and Associates Resource Center, clearly indicated. That CPA is going to see that. In my folder in relation to Paris and Associates Resource Center, I'm going to have information on my book in terms of when I wrote my book under my company, the press release from the publishing company, and attached behind that, my CPA is going to see my 1099 to reflect the amount of money I made under my book, my royalty checks, because that 1099, I'm going to have to, that's income that I made under my company. It reflects income that I made under my company. Also, my CPA, because I developed my YouTube channel as a content creator under my company, that's towards the end. Make no mistake, world, I make my real money under my company. in as a main source of income. Whatever money I make or don't make from YouTube, I just reinvest that money. But I do want my new CPA to see my mission, goals, and objective in relation to my YouTube channel, so it can clearly reflect that I created my YouTube channel in under my company. I'm imparting knowledge onto the world. So they're going to see this mission, goals, and objective. And I would be safe to say most content creators whose channels are monetized, they probably don't have a mission, goals, and objectives specifically for their YouTube channel. And I extrapolated this from my 50-page strategic business plan in relation to my YouTube channel. So I'm not going to give my CPA that whole 50 pages of body of knowledge. I'm just going to give the CPA a copy of my mission, goals, and objective to reflect that I'm a content creator and I make money as a content creator under my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center. Also attached behind this, I'm going to make sure that CPA got a copy of my 1099 that I got from YouTube to reflect the entire amount of money I made for the year 2025. So that folder there is powerful, that my CPA must get in relation to a dedicated folder in relation to the services that I do under my company, Paris and Associates Resource Center, to generate money. Also, receipts in relation to money I had to pay my publishing company to renew my contract. That money I paid to renew my contract with my publishing company is a 100% business write-off. So that CPA needs to see that. Also, I tell anybody evidence of the money I paid last year to my CPA. So the money I paid last year to my CPA to file my personal and business taxes, that money I spent last year would be a business write-off for this year. So that new CPA needs to see that. And that's why I tell people, use your knowledge, skills, and abilities and talents to create your LLC, to make money and align yourself with a powerful CPA and a financial advisor. Let these people do what they do. But it's good to have working knowledge and how to organize and be strategic about your personal and business taxes. But once I pull all my stuff together, I turn it over to the experts. But you better believe I'm going to have working knowledge in relation to my personal and business taxes, because if you be on this earth long enough, you will be audited by Internal Revenue Service. I welcome an audit. And if I need to consult with my CPA in relation to audit, no problem. Whatever document, a folder, Internal Revenue Service need, I can pull it in a matter of seconds, people. And that's why I say I have used my talents also throughout the years and have made a truckload of money in organizing people information in relation to their personal business taxes. Because a lot of folks stuff so messed up, they ain't filed in years, they're in trouble with Uncle Sam, they owe money because they're behind paperwork and all messed up, scattered everywhere. But I have always been organized and strategic. Another powerful folder I'm going to give, I always give my CPA, and also to help me. Don't worry about trying to keep receipts on everything, because whatever bank you're under, you get a printout of all of your statements for the whole year. And you go through everything and you're going to tally up what's a business related, because that banking statement ain't going to lie. So if you lose a receipt, this is your backup. So I got one, because I'm with 4 different banks, 2, 3, 4. So I got 4 banks that I use. My primary bank is First Horizon. So I've already went in and printed out all of my statements from First Horizon from January to December of 2025. And this is also evidence in relation to when I'm writing off all of these business expenses. And my CPA is going to also get this folder here. So because when you're aligning yourself with a CPA, whatever question they may have or receipts, you got it right here. So my CPA will get that. Also will get my Wells Fargo printouts of all of my statements. I have 2 different accounts. with Wells Fargo. Everything is organized and strategic from January all the way to December of 2025 in month sequence, stapled together in a folder and separated. That's how you do business. And that's why I said I had a CPA that I was aligned with for over 17 years. She loved working with me because when I turned my stuff over, all she had to do is get down to business and plug in the data and educate me on any changes in the tax laws and etc. Here's another folder, Wells Fargo with a different account. Everything is in here. I went in and printed out all my statements for the whole year. And this really helps me because what I'm going to do is I literally sit down and go through every single line to make sure I'm not missing any business expense that I spent for the entire year. And then I would clarify that for my accountant so it won't be any question. And also, when you got copies of your bank statements in relation to your business expenses and write-offs, if you ever audited by Internal Revenue Service, and you will, and a lot of times they're asking, you may have to produce a receipt that they want to see. Your bank statements is powerful proof of any type of receipt, because on that bank statement, it's going to show the stakeholder name and the amount of money you spent for that particular expense. So that's a powerful, this here is a powerful resource that I give to my accountant. This is a powerful resource to refer back to if you're audited by the Internal Revenue Service. Also, actually, I had another account. I actually closed this one out, but I still printed my Navy Federal Credit Union statements. So I will go through this to make sure that it's nothing in here that is considered a business write-off. And Navy Federal Credit Union sent me a powerful letter to let me know that they have closed out that account. So my accountant will see this folder. All these folders will go to my accountant. Oh, what's another bank? I forgot about that one. I actually recently opened this bank. And the only reason why I opened up this account is I actually opened this account up July 2025 because I relocated in a different area in the middle of nowhere. So I really needed a local bank in relation to personal and business transaction in the area I'm in. So my accountant will also get a copy of this. Also, this folder. We all know with the new laws now, you have to show evidence of health insurance. If you're not, you're penalized. I'm a veteran, so I already got in a folder evidence of my medical insurance information through the VA. They have to see this. That has to be in a folder and labeled. I don't want that missed. So that folder will also go to my CPA. Also, anything that you may have paid in federal or state taxes, whatever, especially if you're in business, whatever amount you paid in federal and state taxes, that next year you can turn around and write that off as a business expense. So I got all this information ready for my CPA. The money I spent in state taxes, I will now turn around and that will be a business expense for 2026. So my accountant is going to get this folder, everything laid out and organized. If you own property, whatever you spend on property taxes, if you're in business, because I use a percentage of square footage in my home for business purposes. So whatever money I spend on property tax, a percentage of that will be a business write-off. So I got all the information in this folder to reflect the amount of money I paid on property tax for the year of 2025, which will turn around now and be a part of that would be a business expense. All of that, more business expense. Anything that I spent on professional development, because I do still maintain all of my addiction credentials, a licensed clinical addiction expert. So I have to re-credential, I have to take CEUs, I have to carry professional liability insurance. So all of the money that I spend on re-credentialing CEUs, to maintain my professional credential, because I'm utilizing my credential under my company to continue to generate money. All of that would be a 100% business write-off. So I'm gonna got this folder ready for my accountant. And like I said, I've been fully retired for 3 years, but I'm still maintaining my credential because I'm making money under my credential, under my company, by utilizing my credential. So with that comes professional development. I have to answer to a board. I have to renew my credentials. I have to take CEUs. I have to carry professional liability insurance in the amount of $3 million. All of the money I spend on the maintaining that, I keep those receipts, and it is a 100% business write-off. So my accountant would get a copy of this folder. We get this folder. Another folder that my accountant is going to get that is a business write-off. All of the money I spend on my car insurance, because if you're in business, you got to go meet with stakeholders, etc. So you got to have a car. So the money I spend on my car insurance, I'm with USAA, would be a 100% business write-off. So my CPA is going to get this folder. Another folder that I'm going to give to my CPA that will be a 100% business write-off is the money I spend on registration on my vehicle. Because like I said, although I'm retired, but I sometimes from time to time have to go meet with stakeholders in relation to the services that I provide. And so I got to have a car to do that, to go meet with these professional stakeholders. So the money I spend on my car insurance will be a 100% business write-off. Another folder that I'm going to give my CPA is all of the money I spend on my car maintenance, tire, oil change, anything in relation to the maintenance of my vehicle. I got all of these receipts. Folder will be a 100% business write-off, because again, I have to go meet with stakeholders in relation to the services that I provide as a licensed clinical addiction expert when they're sending me those referrals. So my accountant will get this folder. The money I spent on my light bill for 2025, because I utilize office space within my home to provide services when I get referrals. So a percentage of the money I spent on my light bill for the year of 2025 will be a business write-off, real talk. And shockingly, the totality of my light bill for 2025 was a little over $1,000 for the entire year of 2025. The money I spent on as I was relocating from one city to another to set up my home and set up my office in the area I'm in, I had to make multiple trips back and forth from May of 2025 to August of 2025. So all of the money I spent on motel and this and that and coming back and forth to get everything set up in the area now that I'm living in. So all of the money I spent on motel would be a 100% business write-off. Because when you're setting up your area, you're going to have to make some trips back and forth to get everything lined up and set up prior to getting out here and getting your home set up and your office space set up for services. Money I spent in 2025 at Lowe's. I had to get a shed to have room to store a lot of my files in relation to what I do under my business, just that be able to have that extra storage space, to lock that up and etc. So the money I spent at Lowe's to purchase that shed would be a 100% business write-off. And my accountant would get this folder. All of the money I spent in relation to office supplies, printer, equipment, post office, etc. All of the money towards that will also be a 100% business write-off. all of that information in a folder for my CPA. So everything is labeled, organized in a folder. I'm not quite done yet because I got to go in and tally up some stuff and have those tallies ready for my accountant. But I tell anyone, you know, this is a lot of work to be able to pull this together, everything organized and print out all of my documents, labeling everything. Everything is in order by month by month. Using my roadmap, my foundation to make sure I ain't missing anything. A tax return checklist, and I'll go through all of this before I'm going to surrender all of this to my CPA. And I'll use the same checklist if I'm organizing somebody else personal and business taxes. Some of this stuff may apply, some don't. If it don't apply, I'm going to literally go down this list and put NA. So when I turn this checklist in with all of my documents, my CPA will see that this don't apply. You know, for example, if you're still in the workforce, you're going to need your W-2s. You're going to need your 1099s in relation to interest income, your 1099 dividend income. You're going to need your 1099B for brokerage transactions. You're going to need your 1099 ARA, which in relation to your pensions, hours, and annuities. You're going to need your 1099G for tax refunds. You're going to need your 1099A for Social Security. You're going to need a 1099G for unemployment. You're going to need business income and expenses. You're going to need investment sales, price, and costs. You're going to need rental house income and expense. If some of this don't apply to you, then I always write on the side of this, don't apply to me. Some of it will, some of it won't. You're going to need your 1098 mortgage interest. You're going to need sales tax on car purchase and home improvement. You're going to need moving expenses, sale of business if applicable. You're going to need that 1095 A, B, or C in relation to health insurance coverage. If you're not providing that documentation, you can be penalized for that. You're going to need your 1098T for tuition payment statement if applicable. You're going to need a 1098T for your tuition payment statement. You're going to need a 1098E for student loan interest if applicable. You're going to need your K1 partnership or S corporation is applicable. You're going to need alimony paid or received if applicable. You're going to need closing documents for home sale if applicable, casualty or theft loss. You're going to need your Roth IRA conversion amounts. You're going to need your W-2G for gambling winnings. Yep, if you win money from gambling people, you got to turn that income winning over to your CPA. You're going to need a 1099-C for any counts of debt. You're going to need your brokerage statement. And all of this that applies to me, you better believe I got in this blue folder in relation to my applicable 1099s. Real talk. Just like my 1099s I got from my two world-renowned publishing companies to reflect the amount of money I made from the sales of my book for 2025. Those documents are in here. You know, my 1099 in relation to my pensions and 401s and all of that, you better believe that's in here. My 1099 from YouTube, you better believe that's in here. You know, I'm service connected. You know, my pension from the military is not taxable, so there's no need for me to put any information in relation to my pension from the VA. So all of these 1099s and applicable 1099s that for the 2025 is all in this blue folder for my CPA. People, I have been this organized for the past 25 years in terms of gathering my data. In relation to money you spent on medical, doctors, dentists, vision, prescription, insurance, mileage, health insurance, all of that information needs to be put in a folder, a medical folder, etc. Any donations, that needs to be put in a folder in terms of the amount value of what you donated. That needs to be documented and also put in a folder. Also, if you are, and I'm glad I looked at this, and I wish I wasn't going to miss it anyway, but if you have a home office, what that CPA is going to need is your home office square footage and your living square footage broken down, because they're going to need that information, because that's going to be the driving force on the percentage of your utilities that's going to be a write-off, a percentage of your homeowner's insurance that's going to be a percentage write-off, your internet that's going to be a 100% business expense. But the CPA is going to need the entire square footage of your home documented, and then they're going to also need the living space square footage of your home. They want to know what amount of space are you using for business purposes, and there's a formula that they use to calculate that percentage write-off in relation to business. So all of this is the foundation I use to gather all of my stuff for my personal and business types, is labeled in folders, organized in month sequence. And this is the same process I use when individuals throughout the years has hired me to get their stuff ready for their personal and business types. Is real talk. And like I said, I thought of this when one of my CPAs that I had for 17 years was so impressed in regards to how organized I was in turning all my documents in folders, labeled. I mean, I left no stone unturned. And she said, you can literally make a lot of money around tight season by organizing people, personal or business types. Rather it's a small business or medium-sized business, just by organizing, especially for individuals who are sole proprietors. And they got their LLC or their sole proprietor, and they ain't got time to be doing all this. All I got is time, people. I love doing this. I'm an organizer. I've always been organized my entire life. So what I have done is turn one of my passions into a stream of income. I can do it in my sleep. I love this time of the year. I mean, I get into a zone. I really do. I'm one of those people that I welcome an audit, because I see it as a challenge. Ain't nowhere in the world Internal Revenue Service going to be able to ask me not for one shred of piece of paper that I'm not going to be able to go to my folder and pull it and have it for you in 5 minutes. I don't care what it is. Real talk. And if I got questions, then that's when I collaborate with my CPA, who I paid to do my personal and business taxes. They are the experts in this. So I welcome audits. I love audits. I'll go through and double check my stuff. I take great pride in doing this, and I made a lot of money just by organizing people, personal and business types, who got an LLC or sole proprietor. So again, the focus of this lecture is I tell anyone to use your knowledge, skills, abilities, talent, credential to generate another stream of income outside of your day job, or even if you're retired, to generate ongoing revenue in retirement. I've done this for well over 25 plus years. My last 25 years in the workforce, I have always generate other streams of income simultaneously while I was in the workforce. So when I retired September of 2023, September of this year made 3 full years that I've been retired. And I tell anyone, my vision by the grace of God, and I want to give all grace and glory to God, first of all, for giving me the knowledge, skills, and abilities, and the passion and talent to continue to do what I do, to generate other streams of income to the point, I don't know a whole lot of people in this world who get a pension check every month. And I've been in retirement now going on almost 3 years, and I have not even touched any of my retirement money, because my bills, number one, my bills are so low, and number two, I have other streams of income. So my retirement income that I've been getting for the past 3 years, I don't even touch the money. I'm in the position where I can reinvest 100% of my retirement income into another financial portfolio, into another retirement account. And I've been doing that for almost 3 years, because Think about it. If I've been generating other streams of income for my last 25 years in the workforce, I've worked 41 years of my adult life. In the last 25 years of working in the workforce, I begin to start generating other streams of income by using my knowledge, skills, and my talent and passion to do what I do. Real talk. Anybody can do this. Think about a need. Think about a Think about your knowledge, think about your skills, think about your talents, and have that mindset is what can I do to utilize my knowledge, skills, and abilities and talent to generate another stream of income. You know, I live in the middle of nowhere. I'm living minimalism lifestyle. I'm set up my tiny home, my camper on my property in the middle of nowhere, and I love it. And but I have the mindset is what I'm noticing is people in this area, they're using their talents to make money, because the area that I live in, you're responsible for dumping your own trash. So I see people got businesses going on where they'll go around and pick up people's trash in my area, making money for it, because they don't pick up trash in the area I live in. It's in the middle of the country. So you got to either take your own trash to a dump site or burn it. I got 15 acres of land, so I have a couple of options. So I observe people. I observe people generating money by using their talents, and they take a look at and see what is a need in the area that you're in. You know, the area I'm in, 2024, no lie, it's a population of 4,000. So in 2024, in the area that I live in, they just got internet in the year of 2024. Prior to that, there was no internet service in any shape, form, or fashion in the middle of the country with where I'm living. So I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty cool there, because I'm minimalism. So I'm basically, I don't cut loose from the matrix to a high degree. But I was really impressed when I relocated out here a few months ago. But when I was coming back and forth to get everything set up last year, you know, it was groundbreaking when they finally got internet services for these people that live out here in the year of 2024. So wrap your mind around that. Really wrap your mind around that. So again, share this information, and I tell anyone, you know, God gave each person in this world their own unique knowledge, skills, and ability, and passion and talent unique to the person that cannot be replicated. You know, even being a content creator, my channel has been monetized for over 3 years. Even being a content creator, anybody can do this. You know, don't just be money driven. No, have a mission, goals, and objective, and a driving force, your reasoning behind what you do as being a content creator. Everything else will fall in place. It really will. You know, no one could have told me that, because I put God first. No one could have told me that my YouTube channel has reached a whole nother stratosphere. I don't even keep count of anything anymore in terms of subscribers, membership, or you know, whatever money I make or don't make from YouTube, whatever money they want to send me every month, I just reinvest it. So I'm not focused on any of that. I'm focusing on the lectures that I can bring to the table, spitting this truth, people. Real talk. I may do various different type of videos, but I'm going to also, if you pay attention to my lectures, you're going to always walk away with your thinking being provoked. You're going to walk away with valuable information. Real talk. That's the only way I know how to do it. So again, share this information. I appreciate everyone chiming in who listened to this powerful lecture. Share this lecture, because again, April the 15th will be deadline. Titans in. My stuff ready. My stuff ready. I love this. I just gotta fine tune it because I'm very particular. But my stuff ready. I was just talking to my niece, who's a nurse, over the phone, and because I remember last year I was 2020, about over a year ago, when I was briefly living in Florida, she witnessed me gathering my stuff together back then, and I just loved it. But I had a conversation with her, and I basically was telling her, I'm wrapping my stuff up. I'm so excited. I already met with my CPA that I'm going to utilize. I'm just so thrilled to death to be able to turn this over. Real talk. And it's just something about all this. And I don't really know too many people who just love Tights Time Season, love pulling all this together, and love talking about it and educating people. I love it. Because like I said, I've been doing this, setting my stuff up like this, and aligning myself with a reputable certified public accountant for well over 25 plus years. I know no other way. I really don't. So again, that's all I have. Simplify, Simple Fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.